this has been a lot of work. Yeah, I have to thank the Hawthorne Barn and 20 Summers, because this has just been an absolutely perfect location to put this. Dioramas of the natural history museums. I'm also going to kind of say, based on people who are here. And, growing up, I think everybody loves that. But I think part of what inspired this is more of the natural history museums do tell the history of what happened, but I think a lot of what I'm trying to do is create this sort of installation piece that is the unspoken things that have happened in the natural world, and mostly because of us. So this is more of a sort of a environmentally questioning artwork. Previous to this, I was a painter, and I really enjoyed painting, and I really enjoyed painting this backdrop for this piece. But I began working with different long-line materials and materials through some coastal studies that they've found and drudged up and done everything with. Artemis is one of those pieces that I used with the long line fishing gear, which was, I had been practicing with lots of different types of line and lots of different debris, and found that Artemis was, the long line gear, which is what they used for cod and haddock, or used for cod and haddock, took color really well for dyeing and a nice uniform gauge, so I could use it almost like paint itself. And I started by painting with it, doing color studies, abstracts on flat two-dimensional surfaces, and eventually came to another roadblock in my practice where I decided, I had a friend of mine said, well, why don't you just wrap things with it? And I said, okay, I'll wrap things with it. I'll wrap things with it. And so Artemis was part of a series that I started talking really about the female goddess in mythology. And Artemis's original purpose being this protectress of the hunt of the animals and women and children was really I wanted to punctuate the sort of Christian patriarchal cutting off the limbs, the rendering of the paganism as imputed to help, that suddenly it's our sky god, not your sky god. We don't want you to really talk about women in power or women being gods or women being anything else. So that's why I gave an axe to her. Well, not to her, but to represent having lost her power and been sort of hobbled. Around on the floor, there's several sort of orb-like things that I wanted it to feel very primordial, sort of egg-like, still sort of being protected. It has a little squirrel down there as well. But that was really just sort of an emphasis on maybe an introduction to these installations that I wanted to talk about. So the installations, this particular one, is going to be a, hopefully, 3-part talk about commodification in the world and what it has brought us to. And I hope that she being the force, being Gaia, the mother earth, the very fecundity and the springing force of everything, the mosses and the just line and flowers and a little bit, just this wonderful resource. It is the source of everything we have in the world, and the greenery and the perfect landscape. And then we come along, and we are the baboon. We are looking at Mother Earth greedily and only wanting to just take. So grasped in the baboon's hand. In this case, I wanted to accentuate the fact that he was holding something, but any sort of reed or possible tool. It could be a tool, but our tools are really weapons, really. So looking at this, and it's basically like Reagan Village time. we're gonna do to this planet kind of what we do, and think of it as only for us. And so the birth of commodity is the realization that us as primates think that all of everything else is here just for us and us to use in any way. And the horse in general, a lot of times in symbolism, if you think about, millions of years of freedom and pack, and it's beautiful. We still like to think of horses as this wild partnership with man. Like, they are here and we work together and do amazing things. But really what we're doing is just using. And we're just using, again, brutally. Horses, if you think of what we do to horses now especially, and we use every little bit, right down to the hooves to make, gelatin, just used up. And I think that is the allegory here, is that we are just the baboon. And unfortunately, we need to start to realize that that's got to be our demise. So this is the birth of the commodity. The next installation that I'm hoping to do for this is going to be out of balance. So I'll take a Gaia figure of the horse, but be just completely white, stripped like a bleached coral reef that's been used up and completely incapable of producing anything more useful like the planet. And instead of the one baboon, the one unique baboon coming after this, the real sheer the weapon involved is going to be the numbers. So it's going to be out of balance. So in the middle of the space will be this just completely stripped horse, stripped Mother Earth, and around it, surrounding it, a multitude of small little monkeys. And just the sheer volume, that is now the weapon. And I think in the United States, well, the world, that is what we've become. We are the weapon now. Just the fact that there are so many of us taking over and just using and using. And instead of beautiful, lush diversity in the background, there will only be monoculture. It just rows and rows of the same thing around. And the final third installation will be no horse, no apes, no monkeys, no simians, nothing, no snakes, no anything at all. Just one single rat in the middle of the room with a light source transfixed right on it. And the walls and everything else, anything will be able, the floor, crawling around is a fungal pathogen, because everything has been out of balance so badly that the only thing that can survive now is a opportunistic creature that has managed to this day, always found a way to keep going. And the pathogens that we are experiencing now, that we are unleashing, is sort of going to be, actually hoping to be beautiful, but also just a metaphor for what we've done. And in terms of the materials I've used, they're both made from, there's foam underneath, and I hate using foam, and one day this is not going to happen. But for now, I've cobbled together for like Artemis, there's different pieces, parts, everything from old mannequins to plaster to foam, spray foam, cutting things down, shaving things down, ripping hundreds of sheets of muslin, tacking them all up. And the coloration on both of these creatures is the natural, wonderful color, which you just take iron and white vinegar and you make rust water. And rust water is just a really natural looking, wonderful, warm color. Now, in terms of using the recycled materials that I used with Artemis on the other side, this is also in conjunction with the Center for Coastal Studies. The Donna Marie, which is a local dredge, and she usually scalps and what have you, snagged something out in the water and brought it to the Center for Coastal Studies, and to the best of most people's guess, is that it's 50-year-old Russian netting from the bottom of the ocean that came up, and I got to take it and hand dye it and start using it in this work. And so all of these are this very fine netting that I've taken apart and hand dyed and then put back together again as lichen, as moss. And I think I love it as moss. But I have the coordinates for where it was dredged up from, and I just really enjoy using that scientific data along with all of the things that happens to this. Both of these materials had been used to feed people with netting. Some maybe illegally because the Russians fishing our waters, but I just wanted it very much to feel like she rooted it from here. The lead on her hose and on our apes, really nasty twofers, is just lead that has been, I found from reclaimed, when people need to re-shingle their roofs and take the flashing off of their old, around the fireplaces on the roofs, I just swoop in and like, hey, I'll take that. And so they all have a nice patina, but that has also served a really amazing purpose for a long time too. And the copper inside the mouth of the baboon for the tongue is also from copper flashing from old houses. The baboon's eyes are actually made out of lead sinkers. One of the newer pieces that I used is ping pong balls went on for her eyes and a little bit of nail polish to give her a little glam. But I think that it's going to start to be important for even work that's not just going to be in museums, but also art that is going to be for commercial purposes should also have a little bit of a message that there are consequences. I have down here, there's very kind of not a snake in the grass, but historically the symbols of a snake were, because they don't blink, they've always been considered something all-seeing, a witness to what happens in this world.